Yes, everybody, welcome back to Football United TV. I'm joined by a great panel today. We got Talk MU, we got Red Devil Studio, and we got Brush. And we're talking about the win against Leicester. We're talking about the new ownership, potentially two main head runners of that. And we're also going to be talking about the Barcelona Europa League second leg game at Old Trafford coming up this Thursday. But first off, it's the intro. Yes, everybody, welcome back to Football United TV. This is United Across the Globe, where we talk all things Man United. I want to say hello to everybody. Talk MU first. How you doing, bro?
Yeah, I'm all good here, bro. Nice and full. Got a nice tea. Homemade biryani. Gets in. Chicken.
Good on you. Nice. Bet you're feeling nice and relaxed for this talk with the result as well, helping with that factor. We got Red Devil Studio as well. Welcome back, mate. Nice to see you.
Yeah, good to be back. Hope everyone's doing well. Looking forward to doing a good show.
Same here, mate. Glad to have you back. And of course, the one and only Brush, mate. How you doing? Lovely logo as well. You updated it. Looks lovely. Fantastic. Reminds me of that.
Always a pleasure to be here, but thank you for having me on.
Thank you very much, mate. So we're going to delve straight into it. And of course, with the result today, Man United beating Leicester City.
Hold the phone.
I know, hold the phone. They drew, gutted. But Leicester City outfoxed by Man United today, 3-0. Rashford on fire. Let's start with you, Red Devil, mate. What did you think of the game and what did you think of the performance? I know we started off a little bit rubbish in the first half, but we seemed to pick up things in the second half, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, I have how can I say it? I'm very much someone who judges things based on context and not necessarily the result. So I look first and foremost at what is the context around Manchester United, like what's available, who's available, etc. And then based on that, I then make my sort of assessment. So going into this game, I'm thinking, right, we don't have Casemiro, who's arguably one of our best players. This team has played one match every 3 days since the World Cup basically came back. So literally one game. No other team in the league has played one game every 3 days than this Manchester United team. You know, there are players that maybe people not like. Okay, Weghorst, Fred, etc. But the reality is that there's been this constant move. So the difficulty is actually being able to get results. When you actually look at how many games since the World Cup have we actually lost, I can only think of is it one loss? Probably one loss. I think that was against Arsenal.
Yeah.
I can't think of any other United loss that we've had since the World Cup aside from the Arsenal loss. And you can make an argument that, in my opinion, I don't think we should have lost the game. So that's the background. So going into this game, I'm thinking, oh man, we've got Barcelona next week for the second Old Trafford. We've now got a cup final against Newcastle. Who's going to play? Going to rotate? I expect Ten Hag to rotate. Obviously, brought in Dalot. I think it's still just sort of coming back. I shout out to Wan-Bissaka, by the way. I don't know what Ten Hag has done to Wan-Bissaka, but he's definitely improved him. Lindelof is now coming in, who people thought was, not part of the squad and finished, but he's in. Garnacho, etc. So we made some changes going into this game, and you're right. We started poorly. We weren't really about ourselves getting pressed. David De Gea is basically playing in the process of playing for his new contract, but made some fantastic saves to essentially keep us in the game.
Yeah.
And then what can we say about Marcus Rashford? I mean, this guy is just arguably. I'll say it. He's arguably the best forward in Europe right now.
Absolutely.
I don't really know any other forwards that have the consistency that he has, than Rashford. And I put Mbappe in that question. I'm not saying Mbappe is bad or anything like that. So, but I mean, in every single game, that consistency in Europe, away from home, etc., he's doing it. So we go 1-0 up. I wouldn't necessarily say against the run of play, but just we get that advantage. But then when a second half came out, we just dominated. I think that was actually tactical from Ten Hag, taking Camacho off and actually pushing Bruno to the right, playing Sancho in the number 10 and Weghorst as the 9, and then Rashford off the left. We know Rashford's better on the left. I think really helped the team, and I don't think Leicester had any answers. 2 more goals later, it's a very comfortable win for Manchester United. So yeah, overall good game.
It was, and you're right about that. The tactical change at half time, he changed the front four, which is something that we have lacked with managers in the past, to be able to do something when you really need to. And it seemed like Leicester were giving us so much pressure in the first 15, 25, to be honest, the first half. But that first 25 minutes, I was like, they deserve a goal or two here. Paddy, welcome in, mate. Glad to see you here, mate.
Yeah.
Going to the game on Thursday. I'm very jealous of that fact.
Right, yeah,
but tell us what you thought of today's game for your warm-up for Thursday, mate. What did you think of the result? And do you agree with what Red Devil Studio was saying there?
I think we can't start off like that against Barcelona. No way, can we? Because Leicester were all over us first half, I think. And I thought, oh my God, anybody give any team like Barcelona that sort of room will get punished. Even though Leicester, bless them, they nearly scored it, except for De Gea, who again saved us as he always does. We would have struggled a little bit. So we've got to come out from the out on Thursday and go for it and go to bat and smother them from the first. Don't wait for the second half to wake up. Or the latter stages of the first half and wake up and go for it. But again, Red Devil just said, Studio just said then, when you've got someone like Marcus Rashford, again, when you've got the stupidity of Leicester's defence today, who passed it to him and then went, then he ran off. I mean, how much time did Ratcliffe have for that goal? So, we've got to come out from the out, to be fair, I think, definitely. Otherwise, we will get punished. But we're doing really well, mate. We're doing really well. I think we mustn't stop. We keep starting. Have you noticed? We keep starting like that. Keep starting slowly first half. We keep doing that. And then wake up second half and go for it.
It's like I always wonder whether we're starting slowly or the other team are starting really fast and we're not anticipating that. And they every team we faced in a lot of the last 3 games, especially Barcelona, of course, have been pushing very high from the first moment. Talk, what did you make of the game, mate? I know you did your watch along. What were your thoughts?
Hold on. Yeah, look, I agree. The first half, start of the first half, most of it was, it wasn't as comfortable as I would have liked. Leicester, given their credit, they played pretty well, to be fair, and De Gea kept us in the game. But what the mistake they made was thinking that Feiss and Sauter could mark out Rashford from the game, and that was the problem that they had, because Marcus just, he timed his run perfectly, and he found that space in between Bruno with that one pass, and bam, it's good night, Vienna. He ain't gonna miss. So the second half was the first half was wasn't the greatest, but the second half, like you say, when you mentioned about the changes that were made, we totally took control of the game, in my opinion, from the second half onwards, and it was like a warm up to the Barcelona game. I think that's what that was, if I'm honest. I can't hear you, Matt.
Sorry, we haven't got a Premier League game for a few weeks, have we? Because of the Carabao Cup final. I think we've got FA Cup coming up as well, have we not? And of course, Europa League in the week. Brush, this is strange because they had a really good result against Spurs and they were on the up. Brendan Rodgers seems to be getting the best out of the players at the moment. They had a bit of a dodgy start, Leicester, but we seem to put them to bed quite easily. I did predict this, by the way, Paddy, and talk, didn't I? The 3-0. I know Paddy said 4. I was thinking of Paddy. I was like, is Weghorst going to get that goal, that 4th goal for you?
He can't. No, he needs to come off the slow motion replays, and he might get a goal.
Yeah, he was a bit slow today. But Brush, what did you make of it?
Just to echo the sentiments of the other guys, I thought it was a game of 2 halves, to be honest. I thought we were very lucky not to concede in that first half. And like Paddy said, we can't start like that. We got totally exposed for large parts of the game. If it weren't for De Gea's brilliance, we could have very easily found ourselves 2 down minimum. So very lucky to make it through. And again, it's a squad game, and we've got so many games coming up, and that's bound to take a toll as well. I thought it was a makeshift back four. The fullbacks in the first half certainly looked out of it. And then I wasn't too sure on the Lindelof-Martinez partnership either. And especially, like you say, for a Leicester team that only last week smashed 4 past Spurs, they came into the game with confidence. And you could see it in their informed players as well, with Barnes and Maddison linking up a few times. But yeah, almost criminal from them to leave the amount of space they did for Rashford on the current form that he's on. I don't know what they were thinking, but you won't find me complaining. Happy days. And then come second half, changes were made and we were much, much better. I was very happy for Jadon to come on as well and for him to have an impact. And yeah, some positives for sure.
There was, and I do agree with Paddy again on what he said about Tete. He had a great game. He looked really dangerous in the first 25 minutes. Him and Harvey Barnes, they both had a few chances. So we were lucky. De Gea obviously saving us out. Also, I'd like to just finish off, maybe throwing this out there. Do you think Bruno Fernandes's match was maybe underrated as a player? Do you think he is a little bit? I thought he had a terrific performance today. I thought he fed a few good balls.
What I'll say about Bruno is you've got to remember what Ten Hag said about dynamics, and this is an important aspect of what Ten Hag does. But that, in effect, that has to be a concern for us on the right hand side, because if we start in the game with Bruno as a 10, but then he's having to look at him and go, no, I'm gonna have to push you back out onto that right hand side to create this different dynamic, right? That means how the ball is moved, the positions that are taken up because of his movement and what he can do with the ball. That for me, that's a bit of a concern. I'm sure it is for Ten Hag, because who else can do that? If Bruno has to stay in the 10, if we've got injuries and whatnot, who else can do what he's doing out on that right hand side? We should have a player in either Anthony or Sancho should be able to do what he's doing.
I'm going to throw that out there for anyone. Anyone want to come back on that? Anyone have any ideas on the fact that why Bruno gets switched about sometimes?
It's good that I don't know, but to be fair, he's all over the shop today, and he's brilliant. He has his moan sessions. I saw a couple of times that he was moan, but that's him.
The ball from Rashford was beautiful, wasn't it? It was just easy ball to do, and it creates a good goal.
It was great. I thought he was really good again today. He's steady-headed, to be fair, Bruno. As long as he
could have had another assist as well, Paddy, if it wasn't for Dalot's finishing.
Dalot, Donkey Dalot, yeah.
What do you think, Red Devil, mate, about Fernandes as well? His performances seem to be better with the captaincy as well. Do you think he's the perfect fit to be the future captain of Man United, or what's your thoughts?
Sorry, just in case my connection's not that great, unfortunately. So yeah, I mean, I imagine he will be, because I highly doubt Maguire's going to be at the club next season. I just don't think that's going to be the case.
No, he's going to come back. He's going to be born again defender, world class. And we're going to sign Tyrone Mings from Villa, and we're going to have a world class defence.
Only if Southgate's the manager, I think that's the only.
It's actually funny watching the press conferences, because they will ask 3 questions about where's Maguire and what's going to do and has been in, and it's you do realize that Victor Lindelof has barely played a season as well, but you don't ask about him or anyone else that's taken the bench basically. So, and the reality, it's just because English they talk. It's just at the end of the day, what I do know about Ten Hag is that he doesn't have any nationality bias or something. We thought when Dalot was on form that Wan-Bissaka was finished, that he was gone, that he was out of it. And now he's come back into the fold. So clearly, if you show in training, on the field, etc., that you're delivering, he's not going to be okay, get lost, I don't need you. He's going to want that play. He's going to see his options, So I just think that with Maguire, it's okay, I've given you the opportunity. I've not really seen much from you. And the reality is that I now have 3 or 4 players that are ahead of you in their ability. Varane, Lisandro Martinez alone, Luke Shaw now as a left-sided centre-back, and Lindelof. Right. And Lindelof is good. So you're essentially 5th choice centre-back at this point. which
Not
is
good.
service requirements. Not good. So he gets to go.
It's very strange, isn't it? How Maguire's still being picked by Gareth Southgate, and he did have. I mean, I'm not
He's a lunatic. That's why he's fucking lunatic. That's
why did he have a good World Cup?
Mad.
He had a good World Cup though for England. That's why I kind of think like
Yeah,
I don't
except,
like it.
yeah, but Matt, until he played France, and then him and his mates got found out in France, didn't they? They can play. I don't know who were they playing. They were playing like I don't know, Albania 11 or Gibraltar 11. They're all right then. Maguire starts doing this when he scores against Gibraltar 11. No, do that against France or Brazil or whatever, and then start doing that, mate. He gets found out in those big games. I don't get this. With Southgate's fucking use. Sorry, mate. He winds me up. He's been rewarded with failure. Southgate.
Say how you really feel, Thani.
Sorry, mate. The problem is country rewarded with failure, don't we? So he's taking what's the next one? Brush will know all this. I know he's very good on figures. Is it next? Is it next European Euros? Is it next year? Is it?
Yeah. Next Euros is coming up.
Yeah, well, we have another. We'll have another. It's coming home. No, it's not. It's coming home. No, it's not.
2024.
You know what I mean? 24. Yeah, and there'll be what's the name? Harry Kane again, and then we'll have at the back Maguire, and the same old. I don't know. Just I don't get Southgate.
I think they're trying to bring back Terry Butcher as well.
With a headband. With a headband.
He's still got a headband, yeah.
Martin Ketchup there.
The only thing I will say for Southgate, I'm not a fan of his brand of football, but the players that he does choose, his favourites, he does choose them in despite of whatever kind of form they're in for their club. But for him, they do seem to perform a lot of the time.
He's got the best record since Sir Ralph Ramsey. You believe that one? I think that's hilarious. Sir Ralph Ramsey won the World Cup. Do not compare yourself to Sir Ralph Ramsey.
Well, there you go then. We all know that, I guess we all agree that Harry Maguire probably isn't going to be at Man United for very long. No. So what we're going to do is we're going to move on to the next topic, and it is obviously a big topic. Everybody's talking about it, all the news outlets, and of course, it probably is the main title, Sir Jim Ratcliffe or Thani as the new owners. And I want to ask you guys who you would prefer. I'm pretty sure you've heard all the reports of who owns how much and who wants to do what with the club. So I want to ask you guys, personally, who would you prefer? Let's start with you, Talk.
Like I said before, I think so. Jim Ratcliffe, I think he's got a line of commitment. In other words, he's got a certain limit he will go to, and that he can only afford to go to without extra help from other people. So that's that. But I do like the fact that he supposedly is a Man United fan, and some of the things that were said from his bid, etc. On the other hand, Thani, Qatari bid for me blows Jim Ratcliffe clean out of the water. And I suppose if I've got a lean in, it would be towards Qatar and Thani. And I know we did quickly discuss the why-fors and the whatnots because of, it's the Middle East and blah, blah, blah. But let me just say this. Look, we've just seen a fabulous World Cup tournament played in the Middle East. I didn't see any trouble about anything that were concerns that were there before. And listen, we all know that the Middle East the Middle East is a great place. It's a fantastic country, fantastic people, right? Very welcoming and everything else. Very loving, warm, generous. And listen, football is the sport that sort of unites the world and everything else. And so for me, I'm quite happy. I'm quite happy for our owners to be based in the Middle East and to come in and to. I know people call it sports washing and all that, but I don't see it like that. I see it. I don't like that term, sports washing, in the context of what you would put it into with Qatar. I don't like that. I don't see it that way. I see this more of an expansion and a more of a kind of okay. We're dipping our toe in. We're dipping our toe in, and they're more than capable, in my opinion, of providing Manchester United with what they need to be provided with, which is a great structure, infrastructure, and a setup around it to make it work and be successful. So I'm happy for it.
He's happy for Thani and the Qatar back group, of course. Okay. How about you, Brush, mate?
So it was the soft deadline on Friday. So as far as I'm aware, there's two solid offers on the table, one being Ineos and the other being the Qataris. as opening sales pitches go, from the statement I read on Sky Sports on Friday when the news broke that the Qataris have submitted a bid, they've done their market research. Reading through that statement, it ticked a lot of boxes. First and foremost, they grabbed a lot of people's attention when they said the debt will be cleared. And then they touched on things like investment into the infrastructure, the academy, the surrounding area, a lot of things that us fans would like. So, yeah, at this moment in time, that would probably be the one that I look at, but I need more info, to be honest, on both of them. And as Talk touched on with regards to the other stuff, there's a lot of selective morality going around with regards to these kind of things, and we need to know more info. I wouldn't be comfortable just throwing out terms like sports washing just because they're Qatari. I need to know more information in terms of their intentions and whatnot. All I will say is I've been on here and other platforms, and I've always said Man United do not need bottomless pits of money. We just need owners who care about the club, who put people in footballing positions. We generate enough as a club. It's just that it's been very poorly distributed and squandered over the years. So whoever comes in, I just hope that they have the best interests of the club at heart, and the rest will take care of itself.
Completely agree. It does sound like from both parties that it's a good thing. We all want the Glazers out. I'm pretty sure we're all on that. So it's good that this is all happening. Red Devil Studio, mate, what side are you flipping on? What would you rather see for the future of Man United? Because I know some people are a little bit deflected on different opinions, etc.
I think the most important thing to realize is that, and so hopefully I'm coming through. Okay, am I?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. The most important thing to realize is that we don't actually have a choice. Like, I think this is what is often lost in the conversation. Like, it's like, oh, you think this or which side or which side? At the end of the day, the Glazers are going to sell the club to whoever gives them the most money or whatever the situation is. That's the reality, you know. So same thing with when Newcastle got sold, etc. It was like, okay, yes, you can talk about it, but at the end of the day, it's like it's not like the fans are the ones that are in charge of the process. So if you're going to have any issue with any of the owners that are going to coming in, then you should direct your attention towards the owners or the Premier League, or the corporation they respond, or the Premier League or UEFA, etc., which no one seems to do, which is what I find interesting, because I don't know. When people talk about, if we look at the Qatar situation, for example, because I think you should see both sides. I never quite understood why people have the issue with the Qatari money coming from Qatar states coming to a club, but money by advertising and sponsorships goes to the Premier League by them anyway. So it's like they obviously the licensing fees, but also like they sponsor a lot of stuff that goes straight into the Premier League, which obviously gets divided by the other teams. So it's kind of like you're okay to accept the advertising and sponsorship and deals or revenue that comes to the Middle East directly to the Premier League, but you're not okay if that goes to the club to a club to help develop the infrastructure, stadium, etc. That doesn't quite make sense. It's like, if you're against dirty money, regardless, it should be regardless, not sort of sectional. On the other hand, with Sir Jim, you know, I think anyone can say that we hope that that decision would be better than the Glazers, and most likely would be. I think, in my opinion, with Sir Jim, the only thing that we have are the two statements, I guess. So even though I don't think I have a control, if I was to give my personal opinion, which one I prefer, right now I'd say yes, I prefer Qatar, simply because the statement from Sir Jim didn't really mention anything about clearing existing debts. It didn't really mention anything about developing the infrastructure. Really, it almost sounded like a Trump's quote, like put the Manchester back in Manchester United again, just like make America great again. I was like,
Oh, you've just killed me there. You've
sorry.
just killed me there now. I don't want him now. Carry on. Sorry.
Similarities, white billionaire, so that I'm just, no respect, but it's just that, that maybe he will, but it's just that I didn't see, from the little information I've got, I didn't see anything to suggest that there was going to be significant change for Manchester United regarding infrastructure, as opposed to just like what's happening, for example, at Chelsea, where okay, maybe we'll spend more money, but the actual infrastructure of club development of the club and the local investment isn't going to change, So we might get other offers, obviously, USA, maybe Saudi, I don't know, but just based on the information that we know, I would probably say, on a purely footballing sense, that Qatar would be the better option.
That's good. I think.
I just want to add,
yeah, please.
Quickly, Matt. I think with Jim Ratcliffe, and I was saying about his line of commitment, you've got to think about, like I've just put there in the chat. If he goes too far and too deep into Manchester United, it's going to weaken what Ineos is. It's because Ineos is built around this huge sort of pool of money, and if that reduces, that weakens that business. And I think this is the playoff that he has to consider. So, from that point of view, I would just think, I don't know, is it a little bit more than he can sort of deal with?
Well, right. Someone said that, because the press hasn't covered it. So Jim Radcliffe owns Nice, and someone said, I think it was a Nice fan or someone who watches Ligue 1, basically said it was like 15 years ago, Nice were a bigger club than PSG.
Yeah,
that should be all. That should be all you know. 15 years ago, Nice were a bigger club than PSG. Now, 15 years later, who is the bigger club and who owns those clubs?
Yeah,
but then how you say what's a bigger club? I know, like, they've got more money and they've got better players, but like you look at Monaco, for instance, who's the bigger club in like what they've done in their history and winning Champions Leagues? Monaco is, but they can't have anyone go and watch them because it's such a small stadium in such a tiny little place which is only full of rich people.
Of course, but I think it's more the fact that it's like there's not even any comparison between Nice and PSG. Like Nice, you can make an argument that Nice have regressed. So it's like, yes, of course, no one doubts that PSG have spent ridiculous money on mismanagement, etc. You like to think that would happen if it's separate ownership, but it's more the fact that I'm looking at how you have, as an owner, with a French club, what have you done? How have you improved Nice? How have you taken them? And the reality is that a lot of Nice fans, they don't hate the guy, but they don't rate the guy either. But you don't see PSG fans saying, "Oh yeah, we want these guys. I want these sorts of." It's like, okay, yeah, they haven't won a chip, but they're still signing great players, playing good football, get regular Champions League experience, etc. So, and at some point, inevitably, you think they'll win it. So,
but do you know what? I know what you're saying, but the comparison of buying the biggest club in the world, as far as I'm concerned, Manchester United, six compared to Nice, and as you've been saying there, bless you, about all the other teams in France, he's about to buy, if he does get successful, which I don't think he will be. Man United, my God Almighty, the biggest club in the world, rather bigger than PSG, Nice, any of these clubs. We're a global brand name, aren't we? Known all around the world. So Ratcliffe is buying a diamond, isn't he?
It's like Elon Musk buying Twitter. I feel it's like that big. It's that quite.
The term I want to use is commitment to success. Now, in terms of Jim Ratcliffe, his commitment to success is not great as the Qataris' commitment to success. Yeah. I.e., look at the differences. As Red Devil Studios just pointed out quite eloquently, the difference in Nice compared to PSG, and that's the commitment to success. The PSG model, whether you like it or not, they're trying to be successful. They're not doing this for the fun of it to just go, oh, this is a good game, isn't it? Let's spend loads of money doing this, that. No, they're doing it because they want to win. And that's why they wouldn't sell Mbappe to Real Madrid, because they didn't need the money. And they made a statement and said, no, get out of it. Just because you're Real Madrid, don't think you can come and steal him.
To throw that in, that's a really good point. Do you think there are dangers of that happening at Man United? Would you like to see Man United be a new PSG where they just buy Galactico players that Ten Hag doesn't necessarily want?
No, because the difference in model there, Matt, will be I don't know who mentioned it, but the mistakes that have been made at PSG, this Al-Thani and the people around him will see that, learn from that, and also I'm sure they will be looking at the Premier League and for what it is. That for us, the Premier League means more than the Champions League. That's what we're about, Manchester United Football Club. We've got nothing to prove in the Champions League. Like a lot, like all the other teams who've won it multiple times, we've got nothing to prove. Yeah, it's a great thing to win, and it's very exciting. And I love it when we do win it. But I want that Premier League season in, season out. I want us to be the best.
Yeah.
Best.
Also, and the Europa League, I think, is a poor man's Champions League, isn't it? Why are we in that? That's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. This club should be in that Europa League.
Well, look, mate, you look at Barcelona as well. Look, we're going to be talking about that. We're going to be going on to that next. We're both sleeping giants right now in a really bad league. But these are good games. You're showing these two clubs are going to get there again someday. They are. They're going the right way, and we are all going the right way. Did you say though, Paddy, exactly who you would prefer to be the owners?
Qataris, like Talk just said. I think we talked about it last night. Did we talk about the 92 project? And I thought, isn't that fantastic? And he's a Man United fan, which is great. But I was just putting a bit of humour into it. What if they banned drinking in the ground? I'd laugh at that. That would be really funny.
They already have. you can't
that one. I'll tell you what, man, I'm fucking not having any of that, I'm fucking drinking in the ground.
You can't drink in the ground, only inside though.
Actually,
only inside.
That the comment you make there about the Europa League, again, that you can then quickly, then that is there. That's the Glazers' commitment to success right there. Just about scraping in, going via the playoffs in the second.
Yeah. Second class mentality, isn't it?
Exactly.
Third class mentality should be first class mentality because we are up there. It's embarrassing they're in Europa League on a Thursday night, Channel 5. Come on.
I know. We'll get there. Paddy. I'm going to read some comments out, everybody. Thank you for tuning in.
Channel 5 Thursday nights. Either on the square.
I wish he was on there. Smash a like, share, subscribe if you can. Matt Bassett, evening all. Big up, mate. Big up everyone on the chat and in the show. He says, why has no one talked about the negatives regarding Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos bid? It seems that there is only the Qatari bid which is getting talked about in a negative way. Good point, right? I think we did kind of discuss about the Ineos situation. There's pros and cons to all the bidders. Of course, there always is in every person that owns a football club, how they've got their money and where they're laundering it to. Happens with players as well, like you've had Messi and Ronaldo having to go to court because of where they're taking the taxes. Everybody, unfortunately, has a little bit of that, and it's unfortunate that it does come in the game. But like we said the other day, I think like football has no morals anymore. It is all about the money. Matt Bassett, evening Box, you good? Box says, big up Box, by the way. Thank you for coming in. Arsenal fans had a banner saying no to oil money while they were standing in a stadium called the Emirates. Well, you make good points. Exactly what I just said, Box. It has no morals, football, unfortunately.
This is what I mean. People have selective morality, don't they?
You can go down the supermarket, you could buy your eggs, and that could be linked to somewhere in Saudi Arabia or Qatar.
And this is the other thing. Is there even such a thing as an ethical billionaire?
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you got to critique everything, and you can't just point out one thing.
Yeah.
You can't cherry pick.
The thing that gets me is that it's like, I mean, maybe this was the same thing I had issue with the Qatars. I don't have any issue with people even having criticism or saying their opinions or words or stuff. But the issue I have is that it's like actions speak louder than words. So for all the people that it's like, when people criticize the BBC, it's not that they had an opinion on the Qatar World Cup. It was that they still went there, accepted the accommodation, accepted the food, accepted all the benefits of being over there, the weather, the holiday, etc., and then were criticizing. So it was like, well, you could have just reported from the World Cup back in England.
Yes. Well said.
Like the Olympics,
and you could have kept the same energy for all the other questionable places they've held events at.
Yeah,
previous World Cup was in Russia.
Yeah, exactly. But even then, like even if they didn't do that, I'd be like, if you hate something so much, at the very least, by your action, don't attend it, don't go to it. Instead, you went to it. So of course people are gonna be like, what the hell? This makes no sense. Like it's the same thing with this situation where you're like, okay, if you hate if this is a deal breaker, if this is so bad, if the issue is so important to you, then don't be you can walk away from the club, or don't cover it, or don't accept, or do some action that shows that this is like that this means something to you.
Like a lot of the football fans, when the Glazers took over studio, they left to start FC
Exactly.
United Manchester.
Yeah, exactly.
They
Exactly.
left. They
Exactly.
gone. Like,
Exactly. So stuff like that, throw that with action. Instead, it's like, well, I'm angry and I'll post a Twitter post or write an article, but then when they take over, I'm just going to go back to going to the games, writing review articles, match reactions, asking for interviews, speaking to Sheikh, doing all these things. So it's like, well, so your actions are matching with your words. So really, don't really care. If anything, it's worse. You're being a hypocrite. You know,
Yeah.
and that's what I take issue with. You know, pick a camp. Don't mix the two.
that's the thing, mate. Yeah, exactly. People always like to pick one thing out, and then they don't realize around them they're actually probably doing something towards that as well. And it's like you've got to question everything if you're going
Well, just to say a story. It was like I have a colleague at work because who I speak to from time to time, and he has a friend who actually went to cover the match in Qatar, but he was a journalist, like writing for it. It might have been Independent or one of the British newspapers, and he'd message him, you know, and these articles were like, oh, you know, Qatar and you know how the bad and all the rights, etc. But then he would send him like pictures of him like on the beach and with all the food and like having a good time and the tourists. So my friend was like, so your article in like the Independent or whatever it was is trying to highlight all these issues about Qatar, but your actions as a tourist are you're basically saying I'm enjoying myself, having a great time. So what you're feeding to the public, but what you're actually doing in person is completely different.
Well, we had that with Gary Neville, didn't we? He was all against it, and then as soon as BM was like, "I want to come and commentate for it, we'll give you some money." He was like,
Beckham's the same. Beckham's all of they all sold their soul, didn't they?
It goes back to that fact, unfortunately.
I won't be going. No, I will never set foot in Qatar. Here's 10 million. Okay.
Yeah.
It changes everything, doesn't it? When you say,
yeah.
If you got to pay your own money, then you don't.
I've got morals. I would never do anything what they're doing. Here's 5 million. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Box says, I think Radcliffe saw PSG owners come in and thought, F it. I'm not going to toe-to-toe with them. Fair play. Big up to Solo from the Man United Agenda. Evening Solo from Box. Matt says, Box second half tactical masterclass from Eric Ten Hag. Yes, we all agree that indeed he made some good he did make some good substitutions at the second half. Box, I think at PSG they've had to throw all the money at them to make them a brand from scratch. They've had to build a culture and history as a base work to work from. PSG were only founded in 1970, might I add, 1970. Solo, the Man United Agenda, big up Matthew. Box, Paddy will be forced to wear traditional Qatari attire at Old Trafford if the owners buy MUFC. You all right? That I would be. I've wore it in Egypt a few times. I love it.
Remember going be in the railway club in Stratford where our Qatari Arab headwear or drinking water.
I mean, each to their own. Like, be careful when you do that. I don't mind us being in the Europa League. It's a cup, and we have been poor for years as fans. And as a fan base, we need to back the team and players. Matt Bassett says, "Let's see if the BBC hold the same energy for next World Cup in America." Absolutely.
Great point,
America. They got BBC America. They're not going to not, are they? They're not going to not, Matt, unfortunately. Big up, Mama Flossie. Big up. Thank you.
Big up, Mama Flossie in the building.
Coming in. Smash a like, share, subscribe if you can. We are moving on to the last topic then, and it is the Barcelona Europa League preview. Guys, what do you think? Are we going to be making another final this season? Can we do Barcelona at home? Really good result in the first leg. Talk, let's start with you, mate. Can we do it this Thursday?
Oh, yes, without a doubt, bro. Because like I mentioned to you the other night, listen, they 3-2-3-2 to start with. We forced them into changing their formation to 4-2-3-1 effectively because they were trying to mark out players in the game, and it went to a certain extent, but in the end it didn't quite work for them. So we forced him to show his hand, everything he's got, and for me, I think we've got more in terms of how we can change what we're doing and affect the game more than he's got. I just think we are more capable, especially at home, especially in the form we're in. And Marcus Rashford, just bow down whenever you say his name. Simple as that.
I wonder what our the stats are with Barcelona coming to Old Trafford and how many games we have won. I know it doesn't really matter. You take every game as it is. But Brush, yeah, what do you think?
Brush will know. Brush will have the stats on that.
What's that? Sorry.
I guess like looking at Barcelona going to Old Trafford, like I guess what's the stats? Do you think we've got good stats against Barcelona at home, or have they always been dominant when they've come over to us?
Listen, well, based on the result the other night, what I will say is before the game, if you offered me a 2-2 draw, I would have probably taken it. But by the end of the game, I was left bitterly frustrated. We had them. We really should have beaten them. And I think we can at home. Obviously, you need to guard against complacency. But yeah, I'm confident in our lads.
Red Devil Studio, what do you think, mate? You think we got this, or it's going to be a tough, really good clash?
I don't like to jinx things, but I just feel like with the fact that Lisandro and Sabitzer are not going to be suspended, so I think it's going to be make a significant difference. Possibly we might have Casemiro playing with Sabitzer in this game, which I think would be really good. Not that I think we even lose with Fred in the midfield, because people say that, but nah,
as soon as
I know people was, but I am an avid defender of Fred. I am an avid defender of Fred as a squad player at least. So that is my personal opinion. Partly because he's probably one of the few United players that actually doesn't get injured. And actually gives us that sort of tenacity.
He had an all right game today, isn't he? But you can't tell, unfortunately, with him. He was a really good game, a pretty bad game, or he's in the middle.
I'm just at the point where United need to build a squad, and one of the things that at the very least at a minimum is that, in my opinion, you need to get rid of at a start. You need to get rid of players that can't even play 10 games a season. If you can't play, it doesn't matter how talented you are, how awesome you are. If you can't play 10 games a season for Manchester United, we need to bring in people who can, and then after that,
Phil Jones, Red Devil Studio. Say that to Phil Jones.
Yeah, he's still there. He's on a 40-year contract though.
I think his contract expires this summer.
No,
it's finally up, Paddy. It's finally up. We just got to wait till June.
Yeah, 2035. Phil Jones, Edward Wood said.
Oh, it's not here anymore.
But do you know what? When that means, I want us to keep Martial then because he's class. What a pile of crap that is.
He scored a lot of goals when we have Martial in the
one
the team.
goal against Liverpool.
It's not him that's.
You know what? The only thing I'll say on Martial is the greatest ability is availability.
Yeah, it's exactly. That's essentially my ultimate point. Yeah, it's that's why I don't go on Fred, because it's like he gets slated, but he's basically been probably second to Bruno, our fittest midfield. Sorry. Not including Casemiro, our fittest midfielder in terms of availability. The others, Van der Beek, McTominay, Eriksen, etc. What said. So. But as for the game, I just think we'll have too much, and I think the major loss with Pedri and Gavi not being in this side, I think is a huge loss to Barcelona. Barcelona is a completely different team. I watched them a bit in the Liga without Pedri's their best player, and Gavi is an up and coming. Has been quite solid. So their midfield is going to be completely different, and arguably worse. Maybe if Busquets comes in, he might do something, but he's literally going to be coming back from injury, and so will be quite vulnerable. So I expect.
And listen, we've got the butcher back.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, exactly, Zandro. So I expect this to be actually a comfortable win for Manchester United. To be honest, I don't think Barca will cause any problems.
You're right.
Box says Busquets out too. Solo says, I don't mind us being in the Europa League. It's a cup, and we have been poor for years as fans, and as a fan base, we need to back the team and the players. Paddy, what do you make of this result? You think we're going to get over the line, mate?
I spoke to Solo, said the same. It is a cup, but do you know what? Man United shouldn't be Europa League. I'm sorry that the premium cup, in my view, is the Champions League or the European Cup as it was before. And as a fact, we need to back the team players, but we can't have like a sort of second-class team of players. As Talk just said then about we're going forward now with Ten Hag. We're going to be top of the Man City in the Europa League now.
I'll tell you what, Paddy. Obviously, none of us are happy to be there, but don't you think this will be the perfect stepping stone? If we can win that, it'll be a proper signal of intent.
Yeah.
I just don't to build on.
Yeah, I just feel I'm big up my football club, I'd feel a bit embarrassed to be in the Europa
Paddy,
League.
if we win the Europa League, we don't have to make top 4.
Yeah, you're right. I know, you're right. And look, I'm going with the flow. I'm going with these players. I'm going with this team. I'm loving everything Ten Hag is doing. Europa League, I don't know, Caribbean Cup. I'm loving everything he's doing. But I'm just thinking, for the next few years, it's the Champions League where I want to be, and I want to go. I want to be with the best, and that's where the best are. Really, that's all my view on it. That's just in the future.
We want to be in the last ever Champions League as we know it as well. That's a big point, isn't it?
Really? Okay, interesting.
They're changing up the format. We'll have to have another stream on that where I can vent.
I didn't know that. That's interesting. I didn't know that, by the way.
Yeah, Paddy. Essentially, they're trying to make it into
next
Super
year.
League.
Next year.
Yeah, not next year. It's the last year.
Jesus, right.
In its current format, they're basically trying to do a Super League themselves. Basically,
oh yeah, okay. Yeah.
It's just a money grab, really.
Yeah,
completely different format, guys. So it would be completely different competition. Honestly, it's going to be strange. Let's see. Oh, we've done that one. Dembele out too. So maybe doing a score prediction then, guys, and then we'll say goodbye, and you can tell everybody where they can find you when we do your score predictions. I'll put you on solo. Thank you for everybody for tuning in. It's been a really good chat today. I'm going to start off with Talk, mate. Thank you so much for coming on. Can you tell us what you think the score will be on Thursday? Can we beat the Catalans?
Yeah, thanks for having us on, Matt, and inviting me. Always a pleasure. I'm going to stick with what I said earlier. And my score prediction will be, I think we'll do them 2-0 at Old Trafford. Simple.
Brilliant, mate. I'm glad of your confidence. No goals conceded as well. Where can we find you, sir?
Usual place. Football versus Cancer, and on Twitter at I-Talk-MU.
Thank you once again, Talk. Thank you so much for coming on, bro.
No worries, bro.
Rush, once again, thank you so much, mate. What do you think the score is going to be, and where can we find you?
I think it's going to be 2-1 to United. I'll leave it there. 2-1 United. Confident going through as long as we guard against complacency. They are there for the taking. You can find me on Twitter at Brushy87. Outside of that, I kind of float about in the comments and on the occasional stream. So you can find me here, sometimes popping up with Talk on his channel, or sometimes on the United Agenda. So I'm just about.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Brush. Red Devil Studio, thank you once again, mate, for coming on. Please tell us where we can find you. And, of course, most importantly, your score prediction.
So thanks for having me on. Really appreciate it. It's been a while. So I've got a YouTube channel, United channel called Red Devil Studio. That's Red Devil Studio. Check me out. I'm going live from 9 o'clock. So yeah, check me out there. Red Devil Studio on YouTube, and I'm on Twitter at WeAreUnitedX as well. Follow me there. As far as the score prediction goes, I think that I'm going to keep a clean sheet. I'm going to say 2-0 to Manchester United.
Ooh,
yes.
Nice.
Same as me. Happy days.
Another 2-0. What's Paddy going to say? Leaving you to the final moment, mate.
Yeah, I think I'm going to the game, obviously, and I'm just thinking, given how strong we are at the moment, I think we're overawed them at Old Trafford. It's going to be one of the great Old Trafford nights, I think, like from the past. I think we'll beat them 3-0.
Wow, I'd love that. Absolutely love that. It would be
all those players are out now, and with Casemiro back in, we're going to be flying, mate. We're going to be absolutely off flying. And it's.
With us, Paddy, we never make anything easy for ourselves.
Yeah, as long as we get off to a good start, that's what I'm wondering.
Yeah,
I'm going to sit there like that stud.
Listen, if we start like we did today, I'm going to have a heart attack.
Yeah.
Oh, bro, don't even say that, Brush, because no.
Yeah, don't please. I'll tell you what, it's going to be. I'm glad I'm going to driving back at 11 o'clock or 12 o'clock going back to go. It'd be worth it. It'd be worth it if we win. We win 3-0, mate. Driving back, happy. It's better driving back all those years ago from 5-1 and 6-1 thrashing. So it makes up for all that now, doesn't it?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Where can we find you, Paddy?
Yeah, I'm on JFKKPOD on Twitter. I'll be setting up a new Twitter page at some point over my 77 league. I've just got to work with that at the moment. So that's where you'll find me at the moment.
Brilliant. So, guys, we're finishing off now. If anybody wants to say one more thing, if they have anything they want to say on their chest about Man United, please go.
Can I just say something, by the way?
Yeah.
We're talking to you see this as well, lads, at the West Brush. When Ten Hag, it brought tears to me. I was sitting this evening. Ten Hag was coming off, and he went to the fans. And he pointed. I thought, isn't that great? That fighting spirit from that man, of a manager who's got the heart of United now. That I think it's just brilliant, mate.
And his honesty in interviews as well, Paddy.
Oh yeah, brilliant.
It's brilliant.
So good. He is just top draw.
Yeah, 100%.
We're all loving Ten Hag then, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, the worst thing for us as a football club was under from, I don't know, who was it before Ole?
Jose.
So at the end of Jose's reign, then into Ole and everything else, people looking at us, and we were a club without an identity.
Yeah, Liverpool on your shoulder, mate. You're right. Liverpool and Man City and his Arsenal. Just watch over your shoulders because we're there, mate. We're coming up massively.
Box says 200 team group stage with games played on Mars. You can report from there, Talk, because you are from Zorg, aren't you? Which is the capital of Mars.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I'll ping the results down for you. Don't you worry about that.
Luis, Jose, Ole, Ralph, Eric, Eric Ten Hag, masterclass incoming. That's it then, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in today. We will be back again tomorrow with Stephen Featley, who's coming on for the Introduce Yourself show. He's very poorly at the moment, so if you can come in, give us a comment, give us a like, and go and check him out on S Featley TV if you can. Give him a subscribe, it means so much. Come and show so much support for him if you can. It would mean so much to him and everybody else around him. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in today. We will be back again tomorrow at 6 o'clock. Take care and au revoir, mon chéri.
Bye.
All the best, lads.
Take care, all.
Take care, all.
Bye-bye.